They say some love stories never fade. They just wait for the right moment to return. It's been 35 years since Vivian looked up from that Hollywood Boulevard sidewalk and saw her future in the eyes of a man who didn't believe in fairy tales. But time changes people, and even the brightest fairy tales gather dust. Yet sometimes destiny rewrites the story you thought was over. They said fairy tales don't happen twice. But what if love never truly ends? What if it just waits quietly for the right time to return? Asterisk, a faint piano note echoes, soft, familiar, haunting. The Los Angeles skyline glows beneath the early evening sun, golden light spilling across the buildings. The same city, but older now. Wiser. A faceless woman's silhouette steps off a curb, the click of her heels matching the rhythm of the music. Her reflection flashes in a store window, a whisper of red silk, a shadow of memory. The voiceover begins, calm yet emotional. Once upon a time, a man who had everything met a woman who had nothing. And she changed everything. Old black and white flashes appear, the rooftop, the red dress, the laughter in a bathtub, the limousine that carried two strangers into a story no one expected to last. Then the scene slowly fades into the present day, Beverly Hills. 2025, a luxury car glides past the Beverly Wilshire Hotel. The sign still glimmers under the California sun, but the crowd outside has changed. Young influencers take selfies where once Vivian stood, waiting for her next chance. Inside, a charity gala is being prepared. Waiters in crisp white shirts set tables under crystal chandeliers. The voiceover continues. Time has moved on. But love, real love, leaves fingerprints you can never wash away. The camera follows the faceless woman, older now, confident, graceful, walking through the hotel lobby. A silver bracelet catches the light, a quiet symbol from the past. She pauses for a moment, looking up at the staircase, the same one she once walked down, nervous and full of hope. Vivian Ward, once a dreamer in red. Now the founder of a women's foundation that helps others find their second chance. Outside, reporters gather. Her foundation's annual charity event is tonight, celebrating success stories of women she's helped, women who, like her, were once invisible. The city she once feared now celebrates her name. But beneath the surface of applause, there's a flicker in her eyes. Something missing, something unfinished. Cut to the sound of footsteps, heavy, slow, measured. A man's silhouette enters the same lobby from another door. He carries himself with quiet dignity, but his movements are slower than they once were. His reflection in the marble floor reveals a hint of gray hair. Edward Lewis, the man who once thought everything could be bought. Now a man who's learned that the only thing money can't fix is regret. The two paths nearly cross, almost. The camera lingers on a moment that doesn't happen. Vivian turns to greet someone. Edward adjusts his cufflink, lost in thought. They pass within inches, unaware. The music swells softly, echoing the old theme, but reimagined, slower, sadder. In a city built on second chances, maybe love deserves one too. As the camera pulls back, we see them standing in the same space where their story once began, two lives intertwined by time, fate, and memories that refuse to fade. The shot lingers on a single rose left behind on a table, crimson against white linen, a quiet promise from a past that isn't done speaking, fade to black. The words appear on screen, simple and bold. Pretty woman too, the love story isn't over. Asterisk, the night hums with quiet luxury. Soft jazz plays as guests glide through the grand ballroom of the Beverly Wilshire Hotel. Chandeliers shimmer like captured stars, and laughter floats between tables draped in white silk. It's a night of celebration, charity, and second chances. Yet beneath the polished perfection, two stories are about to collide again. Vivian Ward stands near the stage, her presence poised yet warm. She greets donors, shakes hands, smiles with the calm grace of a woman who has seen storms and survived them. Her hair falls elegantly over her shoulders, and her voice carries the same charm that once made a billionaire forget his business for love. But tonight, something feels heavier, like the weight of an unspoken memory pressing against her chest. She glances toward the hotel entrance, a habit she doesn't understand anymore. Maybe she's waiting for someone who isn't supposed to come back? Funny, her voice whispers in the narration. How even after all these years, you still look for the face that changed your world. Cut to, a sleek black car stops outside. The driver opens the door and Edward Lewis steps out. Older, quieter, but still carrying that air of control. His suit fits perfectly, his eyes thoughtful, the eyes of a man who has lost and learned. He pauses before entering, looking up at the hotel sign, as if reading an old chapter he thought he'd closed. He came back for business, the voiceover continues, but life had other plans. Inside, Edward is announced as the evening's surprise guest speaker, a last-minute addition. Whispers ripple through the crowd. Vivian's polite smile freezes when she hears the name. For a moment, the world narrows to a heartbeat. The years disappear, the camera captures her face turning toward the stage, not shock, but a quiet ache. Edward steps up to the podium, unaware she's there. His speech begins, calm and steady. When you spend your life chasing success, you forget what it costs. Sometimes it takes losing everything to learn what truly matters. Vivian's eyes soften. She remembers the man who once said he didn't want to get emotionally involved, who couldn't handle messy feelings. But here he is, speaking like someone who finally understands. The music builds under his words, a soft piano melody. The same one that played all those years ago, now slower, wiser. After the speech, guests applaud, cameras flash, champagne flows. Vivian turns to leave quietly, not ready to reopen old wounds. But fate doesn't ask for permission. As she walks toward the exit, Edward steps down from the stage and their paths cross once again. Pause, silence. Two silhouettes face each other in a sea of strangers. For a moment, neither moves. The air between them feels alive, thick with everything left unsaid. Edward's voice, soft but steady. Vivian? She exhales slowly, almost smiling. Hello, Edward. That single line carries 35 years of emotion, love, loss, forgiveness, and something still burning quietly underneath. They talk briefly, awkwardly at first. He mentions her foundation. She mentions his retirement. They trade polite words, careful not to touch the past too deeply. But in their eyes, it's all there. Every memory, every goodbye. You look good, he says gently. So do you, she replies. Older, but good. A small laugh escapes them both. Familiar, fragile dot as the night ends. They stand on the hotel balcony, overlooking the same city that once brought them together. The lights below flicker like memories, bright, distant, alive. You ever think about back then? Edward asks quietly. Sometimes, Vivian admits. When I forget to guard my heart. The camera lingers on their silhouettes. Two souls bound by time, not by fate. The voiceover fades in. Sometimes love doesn't end. It just waits for the right moment, the right place, and the courage to begin again. The wind carries away their silence. The music fades to a single piano note echoing into the night. Soft, unfinished. The city sleeps, but Beverly Hills never truly grows quiet. Outside the hotel, the streets glimmer beneath the silver wash of midnight. Cars whisper by, and somewhere far below, the hum of life continues, distant, ordinary. Inside, however, two hearts are anything but calm. Vivian stands by her window, her reflection staring back like an echo of her younger self. She's wrapped in thought and in doubt. The night after seeing Edward again feels heavier than she expected. It's not the same flutter she once knew. It's a storm of memories, the kind that both hurt and heal. You can't rebuild your life on old feelings, she murmurs softly. But maybe some feelings were never meant to die. The camera glides to Edward's suite. He's sitting at his desk, the glow of the city painting faint light across his face. On the table, a newspaper headline reads, Edward Lewis to lead new corporate deal amid controversy. His jaw tightens. Even after all these years, business still follows him like a shadow, a knock at the door. Vivian steps in, hesitant but calm. The silence between them feels alive. She places a thin file on his desk. Your new project, she says. Your company's investors? One of them's linked to a foundation donor. There's been talk. Edward looks up, surprised. Talk? Rumors. That your firm used charity funds to mask corporate losses. A long pause. The music stills. The weight of history presses down. Edward stands, defensive but not angry. I'm not that man anymore, Vivian. Her voice softens. I want to believe that. The scene cuts between their faces, hers filled with quiet strength, his shadowed by regret. The world outside their window glows, like a reminder that everything they've built now stands on fragile glass. Later, we see her walking the hotel hallways, lost in thought. Her assistant calls with urgent news. A scandal is trending online. Vivian Ward Foundation accused of accepting illegal donations. The camera pans over her face, disbelief, pain, and anger mixing like thunderclouds. She realizes the link. The money came from Edward's firm. Her voice trembles in narration. I thought I could separate the past from the present. But the past doesn't let go so easily. Cut to a montage. Reporters crowd the hotel, headlines flash, and Vivian's name trends on every screen. Edward tries to reach her, calls unanswered, messages ignored. The music swells, low, emotional. Cinematic. Edward finds her in the hotel garden at dawn. The sun bleeds through the palm trees and mist floats above the roses. She stands by the fountain, her hands trembling slightly. You promised you changed, she says quietly. But now everything I built is falling apart. I didn't know, Edward pleads. Vivian, I swear I didn't know. Her eyes meet his, filled with both heartbreak and the memory of a love she never truly escaped. Maybe we were only meant to save each other once, she whispers. He steps closer, desperate yet calm. Or maybe we were meant to save each other twice. The music rises, a soft violin joining the piano. She walks away, tears barely hidden, leaving him standing alone in the morning light. Cut 2. Edward in his office later that day. Papers scatter across his desk. He signs documents quietly, transferring millions, clearing debts, sacrificing what remains of his fortune to save Vivian's foundation. No speeches, no attention. Just quiet redemption. Some debts, his voice says in narration, can't be paid with money, only with truth. The final moments of the section show Vivian at a press conference. Her foundation cleared of wrongdoing. She thanks anonymous donors for their support, not knowing yet that it was Edward. The camera lingers on her face, relief and confusion mingling. Then a small smile appears, tender and knowing as if deep down. Her heart already understands who saved her. Fade to black. Soft piano music returns, slower, gentler. Sometimes love isn't about holding on. It's about who stands quietly behind you when the world falls apart. Asterisk morning light spills through the tall windows of the Beverly Wilshire. The chaos has ended, reporters gone, cameras off, and whispers fading like last night's perfume. The world has already moved on, but for Vivian and Edward, something deeper lingers, something that time, scandal, or silence could not erase. Vivian stands alone in her office, holding a letter. The envelope is unmarked, the handwriting familiar yet unspoken. Her fingers tremble as she unfolds the paper. Inside, a single note, for all the things I couldn't say when I should have, and for all the things you taught me to feel when I couldn't. You once gave me a second chance at life. Let this be mine to give back. No name, no signature, but she knows. The man who always led with logic has finally spoken with his heart. She sinks into her chair, the morning sun painting soft gold across her face. Her eyes fill, not with tears of sadness, but with gratitude. After decades of running from fairy tales, she's learning that love doesn't always arrive with flowers and grand gestures. Sometimes it arrives quietly, through actions done in the dark, where no one claps. Maybe happy endings aren't meant to be loud, her voice narrates softly. Maybe they're just moments of peace, after all the storms. Cut to Edward. He's leaving his office for the last time. Boxes packed, the skyline behind him fading in the glass reflection. No boardrooms, no bodyguards, no applause. He looks out at the city that once defined him, and for the first time, he doesn't feel the rush of victory or loss, only calm. I used to think success was about control, his voice narrates, but love is about surrender. He places one final file on his desk, a signed document confirming his anonymous donation to Vivian's foundation. He smiles faintly and walks out. The film's tone softens. Days pass. Vivian's foundation flourishes again. She gives interviews, speaks at events, and guides young women toward hope. But every time she looks into the crowd, she feels it, that missing presence, that heartbeat of a man who once saw her not for who she was, but who she could become. Then, one quiet evening, after another long day, she walks through Beverly Hills alone. The streets glow with the hum of neon and car lights, the same path she once walked all those years ago, when she was lost, but dreaming. A light drizzle begins to fall. She opens her umbrella and stops near the hotel entrance. There, standing, under the same awning where their story began, is Edward. No chauffeur, no limousine. Just him, older, gentler, smiling the way he did when he first looked at her like she was something rare. Their eyes meet. No words, none needed. The rain softens around them as if the world itself has gone still to watch. She steps forward. He extends his hand, just like before, only this time he doesn't offer rescue. He offers partnership. "You didn't have to do what you did," she says quietly. "I know," he replies, "but I wanted to." She laughs softly, tears hidden behind the rain. "You always were terrible at staying away." He smiles, that same unforgettable smile. "You always were impossible to forget." They begin to walk together down the boulevard. No destination, just movement. The city lights reflect off the wet pavement, turning the ground into a trail of gold beneath their feet. As the camera pulls back, their silhouettes fade into the glow of the city, faceless, timeless, eternal. Love, the narrator whispers, isn't about the ending of a story. It's about finding someone who makes you want to keep writing it. The music swells, a slow orchestral rise blending the original Pretty Woman theme with a tender new piano refrain. The credits begin to roll over the final image, the two of them walking hand in hand, the rain falling gently, the world moving forward, and their love, finally, at peace. Fade to black. On screen, Pretty Woman 2, the love story isn't over.